don't know that people, I don't know if people realize or not how much like the extra collaboration with a producer or engineer will bring out the emotion in a song. Like mixing isn't just about, oh, does it sound good? Mixing includes highlighting the emotion and the story that you're telling in the song.
Yeah.
And that all just helps to make the song better and more enjoyable for the listener and more whatever. Plus, also, if we want to get like about specific about things, like if you're trying to land like, oh, you made this awesome song, and like in your head, like, bro, this song would sound so hard on Madden. Do you think they're gonna pick a song that sounds like crap to be on their video game? Like, they're looking for professional sounding things. Same with the radio, same with other sync placements, same with a lot of playlists. Like, if you want to be with the big boys, it has to sound big boy.
Dreamers Welcome Podcast.
Dreamers Welcome Podcast. We back in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I got by CEO PESO. Blessed and highly favored. Live from Moves Media, man. Feeling good, feeling great. Got a special individual making everybody in the city sound good, man. He got a lot of techniques and a lot of grind mode he be putting up on social media. I think y'all gonna learn a lot from this engineering guru himself, if I may say so. I did my notes, man. Please introduce yourself for the people.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ash Matthews, engineer, producer, located in Dayton, trying to work everywhere. That's about it.
Ash Matthews, man, I appreciate you. This has been a lot of reschedules on my end, just trying to get the scheduling right. But I look at that as like, it's been so much more you've been like adding to your arsenal, accomplishing and everything. It just gave me way more to talk about as far as like what I did want to talk about, man. So first and foremost, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man.
Likewise, man. Yeah. Likewise. I'm feeling a little winded from setting up, brushing, but nah, man, I'm glad you're here though, bro. So, man, first, I just want to dive into it, getting out the way, man. Explaining these people the upbringing of Ash Matthews. How was it as a youngin' coming up, and just a little backstory of that?
So I'm originally from Lima, Ohio.
Okay.
And you know, growing up, always into music. I started more like rock, kind of punk stuff. I started playing piano when I was like super young.
Word.
And then 5th grade, like middle school, got in a band, started with saxophone, then moved to drums, then got a drum set, then was like jamming with friends. And as a teenager, I quickly learned that like I had really talented musician friends. Yeah. And they were all like way better at their instruments than I was, but I was way better with computers than everybody else. And I was like, how do I
bind the two together? What I mean? Yeah.
And that started my obsession with like recorded sound, just for us to like show to people and practice with and hear what we were like jamming and writing. And then that just grew into its own beast. And then I just started recording other bands, other friends, started recording other genres, rap, singer-songwriter, all that stuff. Ended up moving to Indianapolis to go to school for computer engineering, minored in recording industry studies, recorded people out there, ended up working at a small media company studio over there. I worked with like a country band, and we were performing every weekend, did a lot of live sound, did live sound on campus. And then I moved to Dayton in 2016 for a big boy job.
Okay. With the quotation.
Literally, I didn't know anybody in Dayton when I moved here. And then, you know, started going to like networking events, started reaching out to all the artists in the area. And then just kind of grew from there.
You just covered a lot of playing field, so we going back. I appreciate
I
it though.
To give like a
that was a great synopsis of it. I like it though. So first, I want to go back into the starting with the instruments and everything. Well, one question that's on my mind is when you said you started combining the your friends with the being good at instruments and then you with recording. So y'all basically used to record stuff to kind of like have a resume to let people hear what y'all can do.
It was really just, you know, friends jamming in my parents' basement. And like, you know, if you're just jamming, you have fun and you start like writing ideas together while you're jamming. And then it's like, all right, well, how do we revisit these ideas? How do we show these ideas to other people to see if they like what we're doing? And that was like the birth of like me figuring out, all right, how do I record this sound and show it to people? Yeah.
So back then was like, well, I don't know back then, but I used to engineer. But what was the process of recording it? Like, because if low level type status when I was engineering back in like 2009, 10, whatever, or 8, we used to usually record into the mic.
Yeah, this was, I was probably 14 or 15, so we're looking at 15 to 16 years ago in my parents' basement on just like our Windows 2000 computer, right? So it was,
man.
You remember those webcam mics from the old days where it was just like
the little skinny joint,
little stem?
Yes, we used to record on that, put tissue around it.
I would take that and I would hang it from the ceiling on the other side of the room where like the drums and the guitar amp was, and then literally just Windows Media Recorder. Like it's just play, stop, record. That's it. And you just do that and you have one sound. And that was like the first thing I ever did.
We had Acid.
Dude, then I went to we formed a band and we were writing our own songs and we wanted to record them. So a local musician, Brandon Howard, had a band and he had a full like multi-track setup using Cubase. So we got with him and recorded like our first EP, I guess. And that like that was like the spark of like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know? And then from there, another local guy that he did like, he made like death metal stuff, but he also made like sick trap beats. Mosh Burden. He ended up selling me this extra interface. He had a Mackie Onyx satellite that came with Traction 2. So Traction 2 on a Mackie Onyx satellite was like my first interface and DAW.
Yeah. Damn, man, you throwing out some old school stuff, man.
I've been here, bro.
Mackie, I had a Tascam. That was one of my first ones too. Jesus, man. Then the Scarlets came around. It's a lot that was going on back then, and learning the process of engineering. So you said when you did the EP, that's what made you like, okay, I really want to like engineer music.
Yeah.
Well, artist in a sense though.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the joy of like what was that? What was it specifically that was like, oh yeah, this is it? Like just curating the song with them, or like just the intricate of how to mix it? Like what was it though?
I think it was all the technical details. I mean, at the time, everything that I listened to was very much like I was already listening to the mix of certain songs. Like I've gone back and looked at like what my favorite like albums were, like songs or bands were at the time.
Yeah.
And if you look at the credits, it's like the same mixing engineer. Like going back to Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire,
difficult mixing too.
And Limp Bizkit's Significant Other. Those 3 albums are 2 of my...
Limp Bizkit, I fuck with him too, yeah.
Dude, those are 3 of like my favorite albums, and a lot of it is due to how they sound and like the drums being so punchy. And I went and looked, it's the same mixing engineer on all 3 albums.
Oh, word.
And
so
like,
coincidentally, it's just like them was your favorites, but then you just happen to like, damn, the same person mixed all of these.
Yep. And so it's like... It's the combination of like being able to like make a thing that lives forever of something that you created or that we created.
Yep.
And like that like lives forever, right? But also like I went to school for engineering, so I'm like a mathematical problem-solving, detail-oriented person.
Yeah.
So like all of that plays in to
frequencies
mixing
and numbers.
Recording. All the technical stuff as well as the creative side. You have left and right brain like working together, and that's where I live, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it on camera, but I have a chest tattoo, and one side is a brain and the other side is a heart, because it's like the whole balance between like love and logic, heart and mind,
definitely,
creativity
that's
and the
dope.
Technical details. It's like all that balance.
That's dope. And then I feel like too, man, just for them to be like your favorite mixes that you kind of went off of, I think, man, the level of mixing that came with them type albums, because the genre of the music, like not to downplay like, you know, R&B and rap music is just like so easy, but in a sense, like it's just, I would look at that as like recording like rap artists or whatever, that'll be easy compared to like when you doing bands and intricate things like that. Is that true in a sense? It's the same passion put into it.
I don't want to downplay because like even you look at like okay, you look at pop music, right? And that's still just as impressive to me. Like my favorite Michael Jackson, all of his songs sound immaculate. You know what I mean?
Bro.
And even like being like super younger with like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, like the mixes on those are amazing. They're well written songs by some Swedes, Max Martin. But anyway, this is the other thing that I always thought was interesting is like hip hop and rap comes from an era of things kind of being low fidelity anyway. You know what I mean? Like rappers in the early 90s were in basements on Tascams and other
getting it out the mud, man, forcing it on
like an SM57, like you know what I mean. So that has like that grungy, low fidelity, gritty thing to it. But then also you have like punk and hardcore bands from the 90s and early 2000s that are like, those recordings sound terrible, but like it's part of the vibe, you know what I mean? As we get to today where more rap and hip hop and R&B have grown to be this thing where that polished sound
is very, that's the word I was just thinking, is polished.
And I think that the different genres of music all have their own nuances and intricacies of how
it's
to
a
get
characteristic
the sound
that go
right,
with it.
Right, but I still would think that they're equally as difficult. But I feel like in rap and R&B, and even some pop, a lot of that is on the production side,
right? Because
you have a group of producers that are. Sound selection is super important. How they're mixing the instrumentals before it's recorded and then before it even goes to the mixing engineer, like that plays a big part that takes away some of the work from the mixing engineer because the sound is already there, you know? Whereas if you're recording a band, like you're recording like raw instruments, and as the engineer, you are trying to help get the right guitar tones, mic placement, all that stuff. So that's probably where that rap and hip hop and R&B being easier to record or mix is because the production carries so much of the weight of the sound and of the mix.
I kind of figured that too. Just like I said, with so many different instruments, bands, and like I said, I ain't never did a deep dive on it, but it's just like seeing it just a live show, like, and then what artists that used to put out like live albums. It's just so much from the keys, how the bass hit, like the bass, not just the keyboard. Yeah. So that'd be my thing. So from Lima, you said Indianapolis, and you went to college there. Explain that transition, because first time living in Indianapolis, didn't know anybody. So how was that? Just with just having to focus on school, but then on the back end, you were still like trying to build up some clientele out there. So explain that process to me.
I mean, when I moved to Indy for college, I was super excited because I had been in one city my whole life. I hadn't lived anywhere else. And I was going to like a much bigger city with more, because Lima, not a lot to do there, right? And going to Indy, way bigger city. I remember my freshman year was the year that the Super Bowl was there.
Sheesh.
So like
it was going down.
First year, we're having a good time,
I'm never going back to Lima.
Dude, my last 2 or 3 summers, I stayed in Indy instead of going back home to Lima.
Oh, yeah.
One, I was taking summer classes, and a lot of those were for my minor for recording. Like, I took a Pro Tools class over the summer that took me from here to here.
Change your life,
But also just like the vibes, the people, the hanging out, the city.
The networking.
Better being there during the summer, to be
Definitely.
honest. But as far as like, I went to a liberal arts college, so like meeting people that do music and art was like a given, plus the bigger city. I started making connections and going to shows around the city, and it wasn't that difficult, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the ground running, and I think with that reminded me of like my first big move was I went to I was blessed to be able to go to Full Sail, and I was gonna go for engineering, but they raised the goddamn tuition. So I did entertainment business, bachelor's. It worked out. But, that big city vibe was just, it was crazy. It turned me up to a whole nother level of like, I mean, now I'm from Dayton though. So, I mean, it was still, Dayton is a great city, but in certain aspects. But it was like when I went down there, it was like times 100. Like,
Yeah.
it was like every day I was doing something, networking, whatever. And that's why I wanted people to hear from you. Is just like you chose to just take a dive, which we're gonna get into dating too. Well, we might as well get into that now. So the quotation of what was it? Big boy job.
Yeah.
So you and Indy, was you getting kind of like, I ain't gonna say tired of Indy, but was it just kind of like you was looking for a new move or something that just got presented to you where it's like, oh, let me check out dating?
It was more the job than it was.
Have you ever visited dating before that?
Yeah, I've been.
Okay. I'm about to say it's right up the way.
Going back, okay, here's something crazy. Going back to talking about like being in bands and stuff when I was younger, teenager, right? I was in a band and we came down and played a show at the Attic in Kettering.
Oh shit!
And
yeah.
fast forward like years later, the first house I moved into in Dayton was like around the corner from the Attic.
From the Attic.
So
yeah.
it felt full circle.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But no, like I came to Dayton because I had a good job opportunity, and that's what brought me to Dayton more than anything. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. You still here rocking out, doing your thing.
Yeah.
Facts. Man, I got a personal question so people can understand.
Okay.
Because I didn't know your background with the college and everything like that, but explain the difference between mixing and mastering.
Okay. This question is asked all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So just
and
for the audience.
There's so many different ways, and there's a lot of fun analogies to use. Like I've used analogies with food and with cars and with other things, but like as straight up as it is, mixing is the details, the fine details, like adding, okay, does this need a little bit more reverb? Do we need to do a delay throw right here? Is everything balanced? Is the guitar coming in nice? Is the piano overpowering the vocal? Is the bass hitting right? Does everything feel like does everything feel like a song?
Right.
You know what I mean? Are all the cool, fun things here, but does it feel right? All the little tiny details. Mastering is like, forget the mix, forget the details, step back, and the whole song as a whole, it's kind of like making it, like polishing the whole thing. You know what I mean? And making it loud is part of it. But it's more so how do you enhance the whole mix, the whole song as a whole, not like, oh, this vocal seems a little bit loud, or like, oh, this one frequency, or it's none of that. It's just the song as a whole, solidifying it and bringing it up to where it needs to be, and is wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. Because like, even when I still hear music to this day, like, I was told, like, when you listen to it at a very low volume, you hear way more stuff, like what layers of the background, like a low octave and all of that shit. And it's just like, man, like if you want your song to be really that, sometimes you got to go and get your shit mastered, or unless you got somebody who can finesse a hell of a fucking mix. But that's just my personal opinion. So, man, like I said, I had my time with engineering, whatever. Balancing that shit out with personal life, because engineering, bro, especially the aspect you in with it, like you are a professional now. We're gonna get into that too. But man, you gotta spend countless hours sometimes in that motherfucker. You gotta be vampire life for real before that was even a fucking phrase to say.
Yeah.
So, man, is like, how do you feel about that? Like just having to like, have these like wild ass working hours, and how do you balance it with the personal life? Because obviously, I mean, unless you are just 100% gun ho engineer status, just explain that aspect of your life.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm a little bit more of an introverted person. So like there's aspects that made it easier for me. I'm not a big like go out to the club, go skiing, go whatever. Like
You say skiing?
I don't know. I was watching Buying Beverly Hills last night with my girl, and they were in Aspen. So
okay.
My mind just went to there. I was just like, what? Yeah, I've never been skiing. I
got you. I was
trying to think of like things people do. I don't know.
That's cool. That's cool.
But I mean, for me, I feel like it's just slightly different because like I'm so passionate about it, and I'm so like it's just all that I want to do. So like. This is the thing that people I don't think realize is over the past between the beginning of 2018 through the middle of 2023. So that's what, like 5-6 years?
Yeah.
So 6.
Yeah.
A little under.
Yeah, 5.5, 6.
5.5. I like every day wake up, go to my 9 to 5, come home, let the dog out, eat something real quick, go to the studio, get home midnight, 1 a.m., wake up, go to my 9 to 5, like weekend, as much studio as I could. So like there wasn't much. I didn't have or need much of a personal life. It was just every day, how much can I work on? Because I only have the time that I have to do it, so I'm going to utilize every minute. But it wasn't until, I don't want to say it wasn't until, but more recently when my woman came into my life, she really helped me balance out that personal and that other thing. And also over the years, like growing closer to like clients. It's so weird. I don't like calling artists clients because like I've built such good personal relationships. Like,
yeah, I know.
My clients have become friends, and like now I just want to spend the personal time with them, go hang out and do stuff. But since going full time with it, it's been a lot easier to balance personal life and that.
Congrats.
And also, real quick, just like setting boundaries with people to avoid. You know, once you get to a certain level, you kind of just have to set boundaries where like now I'm like, I don't work on Tuesdays. So if you hit me up on Monday night or Tuesday, hey, can you send this? You're going to wait till Wednesday. Because Tuesday is one of the 2 days that my girl has off, and it's my day to be like, Tuesdays for me.
Yeah.
If I feel like doing something, I will, but Tuesdays are for me, and that's my boundary.
Yeah, man, I respect that a lot because it took me a while to understand that too, because you know, for what we do, man, we don't got a time to clock out.
Yeah, there's no clocking out.
Yeah, so like it took me a while to understand too. Like I need a personal day to myself. You know what I mean? Instead of like a revision or like let me knock this edit out. Yeah, because I used to just go crazy over that shit, and then I mean crazy as like just keep it going and whatever. So I'm glad that you mentioned boundaries are very necessary because it fuck up your creativity. It'll, just how you then they're veering away from what the dream really is. In a sense, you get to dreading that shit. So respect, my man.
Thank you.
So beyond engineering, beyond just like, sitting behind the boards and, recording an artist or instruments, whatever the case is, what other characteristics makes a great engineer?
I think one of the most overlooked is soft skills, which are those interpersonal skills, those knowing how to communicate with people, knowing patience, having patience with people, and just like those soft interpersonal skills, they can sometimes matter a lot more than even your technical ability. I think another one is being able to be like honest and genuine and constructive criticism and helping artists like be self-aware and kind of realistic on what they're doing. Yeah. Like it's good to encourage people, but hyping up something, I'm always afraid that like if I hype this thing up too much, they're not going to see that they can be even better. And I want everyone to know that they can be even better, because everyone can be better, including myself. And I think about it every day.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's like a slight way of like coaching in a sense. If somebody never really got around a professional engineer. Yeah. Because I mean, just how like my music videos go or movies and whatever, like my name is still going to be on that. Your name is still going to be like Ash Matthews mixed this. So, and I'll be honest, when I first started, it was just for a quick buck. Like, oh yeah, that sounded great. But then that just was like, that shit sucks. You know what I mean? So it just was like, like I think that brings longevity into like why people would choose to come back and work, with people that's very transparent. Yeah,
definitely.
Where am I at with it? My bad, I got these notes on my phone. Yeah, my research, man. I did my research. I wanted to ask you, you put a post up about Music Review Monday. Yeah. And you was gung-ho doing that for a long time, but then in the midst of that, I saw something in the end that you said, if you want honest feedback or something in a sense, go to networking events. And I seen that you was on a panel in Indianapolis a little minute ago. So first off, What was it about Music Review Mondays that had made you like just like slow down from it and stop it pretty much? Because this was like years ago too. Like you was doing it for consistent.
Yeah. It was an every week, every Monday thing, like dedicated to doing it. But at the time, like I was talking about earlier, it was wake up, go to 9 to 5, stop at home, go to the studio, come home, go to sleep, wake up, go the day after day, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, after only having availability on my schedule for 5 to 6 hours a day, most days out of the week, I started to like, you know, I just needed that time to actually book sessions.
Yeah.
And because there are people that like, I would have like, with Mondays not being available, trying to have a little bit of personal time and only having 4 to 6 hours available a day. So like not that many in a week. I was having people schedule so far out that like they would just go somewhere else or like forget about it or whatever. And it was like, I need this time to get sessions, and I want to say I can't afford to spend my Mondays doing this when I could be doing that.
Yeah.
And that was really just it. Was like, I need this time to do these other things.
Yeah.
And I thought at the time, like, maybe I'll bring it back when like things open up or whatever.
Pan out.
And by the time that I considered doing that, the whole like music review shows online had blown up so much that I was like, I don't need to be another thing in the thing. I don't need to be another drop in the ocean.
Nah,
you know?
totally understand, because like I said, when I seen the timeline on when you was doing it, you know, that was like early stages of like not everybody being accessibly on YouTube and having to be able to do the small production like that. Because that's I was like, damn, like that shit. You just that post alone, when I seen it, I'm like, man, this motherfucker was doing hella goddamn reviews. So
yeah, dude.
Like I respect that though.
Yeah, I mean, I would go, it was like pretty consistently at least like 2 hours a week, and it was like back-to-back songs. There wasn't much like chatter in between. I would try to get through as many as possible. Man, I wonder if I still have it. At one time, my mom likes to be, she's always like, what can I do? Like, give me something to do for your business. Yeah. And back then she went through and she made a spreadsheet of every song that we reviewed. I forget starting at what episode, but like I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find that and see how many songs.
That's what's up. So she had a little bookkeeping.
She was doing my little record keeping for me.
That's dope. That's another. I asked a lot of questions in one, but even with the importance of hitting up these networking events, like I said, you was on a panel that was I'm not sure what it was. Just talking, or was it judging or whatever? Or
so it was at 303 Recording in Indianapolis, which is my homie 24K Brendan. It's his studio. Yeah. And me and 24K have been working together for years now. He's a producer. He has a lot of really cool connections. He's focused on sync licensing right now, songwriting. He sends out loops. He goes to LA pretty often, works with some awesome artists, and I've just been tapped in with him for a while. But at this new studio that they started, 303, he invited me out to do this networking and feedback session. So essentially what it was, and there's actually another one this Friday I'm going to, but
in Indy?
In Indy, yep.
Dope.
But like the first like hour and a half is just all the artists, producers, engineers there, like just chatting, networking, meeting each other, you know, chopping it up. And then everyone that's there, you like send a song before the event, and then we just go through. We play it. We have the artists like introduce themselves, what the song is, because like we review like we give feedback. I should say it's not a review; it's feedback on unreleased or released or whatever.
So feedback about the song, and do y'all go in on like the mixing or whatever?
Yeah. It's like it's literally the whole point of it is constructive criticism.
Right.
It's pure. The panel was basically advised to like say at least one thing you like about the song and one thing that you think could be better. So there was four of us on there. Griffin is another engineer and producer over in Indy. Me, 24K, who's the owner of that studio. I just explained him. And then Trenton Kyle, who's a producer and artist that has placements with Sofago, NBA Youngboy, and I think Playboy Cardi, but I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
So he's got good accolades as well. We listen through the song, say like, oh, I really like this, and I see the direction. I think the mixing on this could be better, or this whatever it is, like just constructive criticism to help.
No
people.
holds bar. No holds bar on
like,
it. Not like dissing them or whatever, but just being like very honest of like, I mean, that's the only way you're gonna evolve though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
And there was this one dude, his song was incredible. There was like a little mixing thing that I felt like could have been better, but otherwise I'm like, this song blew me away, dude. He's like, his like biggest influence is Prince, and like the song he played every instrument on, dude, and his voice, bro. This kid blew me away.
Multi-talented. Yeah, I mean, if influences Prince and you said it blew you away, that had to be a hell of a record. Well, shit, bro.
If I had his name on the top of my brain right now, I'd shout it out, but I'd have to go look it up. I forget his name. Antonio something? Antonio?
You from Indy?
Yeah.
Well, shit. Maybe he'd be
if you go to my
next one.
If you go to my Instagram at @Ash_Matthews_music, I'll make a post on my story. I'll share one of his posts.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious though. You got that? You remember actually? You got the song like on the video, or you just saying you gonna post them? Period.
I'm just gonna share something. I'm just gonna share one of his posts.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see how that sound when you said it blew you away.
Yeah,
that's deep, man. That segued me into asking you, what's your thoughts about the ease of recording now? When some people know how to do it great when they recording whole albums on their phone. Some people is just recording on their phone, just in general. Some people are. I think Kanye was doing with voice notes and sending that shit to get mixed. So what's your thoughts on how the easiness of how engineering became for certain people?
My opinion is pretty nuanced, because on one hand, I think it's great because there are a lot of people that, years ago wouldn't have really even explored the idea because they didn't have the money or access to a recording facility, right? But on the other hand, I've never heard a song that someone did on BandLab that I thought sounded good.
Right.
And this is my thing, and this was something that we touched on in that feedback session in Indy, was like, I see what you're going for, and it's a good song, but it's just being held back by not having, I don't even want to say a professional touch, but like a better touch.
Yeah.
And, the idea for artists to like create on their own time in their own place is absolutely wonderful for artists.
That's how you get better.
And like, if you're early on and you want to put those out to get feedback and whatnot, that makes sense. And if you're doing it to make demos, also a brilliant thing to do. But I'm just at a phase, at least with what I see and what I want to do and where I want to go, that it's like, don't you want this to be magnificent? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't you? Because the thing is, I don't know if people realize or not how much like the extra collaboration with a producer or engineer will bring out the emotion in a song. Like mixing isn't just about, oh, does it sound good? Mixing includes highlighting the emotion and the story that you're telling in the song. Yeah. And that all just helps to make the song better and more enjoyable for the listener and more whatever. Plus, also, if we want to get like specific about things, like if you're trying to land like, oh, you made this awesome song, and like in your head, like, bro, this song would sound so hard on Madden. Do you think they're gonna pick a song that sounds like crap to be on their video game? Like, they're looking for professional sounding things. Same with the radio, same with other sync placements, same with a lot of playlists. Like, if you want to be with the big boys, it has to sound big boy.
Unless you got one of them Bobby Shmurda, Ice Spice joints that just undeniably took off, and then they get the better mix after.
Right.
Other than that, yeah.
And then there's also like XXX, like some of his stuff, like,
is it purposely distorted?
It doesn't sound like good. Yeah. But like, that's the vibe. Yeah. That's the other thing too about like mixing is, sometimes it's not about sounding pristine and glossy and perfect. It's what's the vibe here? Like, what are we going for? Is it supposed to sound like it was made in a bedroom? Because you can do that, but it can sound better and still sound like
professionally amateur in a sense.
Yeah. Real quick, just to say this, because I love talking about this, is like, because there's always pushback on like, from some artists about like, why would I go spend a bunch of money on a studio and this and that, and like they always try to bring up like Drake recorded what was it, So Far Gone in a hotel room, and it's like Billie Eilish and her brother made all their songs in their bedroom, and it's like, do you guys realize who was working? Do you know that Billie Eilish and her brother had the top level mixing and mastering engineers finish that out? Do you not realize the people that Drake had working on those records? Like, that's like saying, oh, I can just record it in my bedroom because I'm as good as 40 at mixing. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Bro, I just seen the clip not too long ago. Kanye was in a room with like 30 people doing a Carnival verse. Like, and it was quiet as can be, but it's just like, he can pull that shit off. Or like I said, the voice notes, and still just had the top people take that and master it. Don't just mimic it in the bedroom and think it's gonna be phenomenally sounding.
You're doing it in your bedroom. Are you having Mike Dean mix it?
Right? Mike.
Cool. Do it. I can't wait to hear it. You're mixing it yourself.
Mike Dean gonna put his foot in it too. That's crazy. Y'all, and you just mentioned something too that I think is important for people to know. Like you said, like doing it on the recording, or being creative on your own in your own space and time. It is helpful because you'll be able to practice or whatever. But let's talk about the importance of when you are having a great bond and relationship with an engineer or a producer, which you are both in a sense. So why is that so important for somebody to like have somebody locked in with, a creative as yourself to, just be like, now I'm only fucking with Ash Matthews. Like, why is that bond from artist, producer, engineering point so important?
I think for me, like, collaboration is key. Like, everything that I've done that I'm like really proud of, I've like never done on my own. You know what I mean? And
that's deep. Yeah.
Everything. There are so many things that I do now, like techniques and the way that I hear things, were because other people showed me or pointed it out. And I feel like iron sharpens iron. Like, the only way you get better is not the only way, but like, at least for me, the main way I get better is with working with other people. Like, working with C Money Baby, I see lyrics differently. I see rhyme schemes differently.
Shouts out to C. Fucking beast, man.
Yeah, even being like, I've always been a huge Biggie fan, and Biggie's like rhyme schemes and stuff have always blown my mind. But like I said, working with C Money Baby, the way that I watch him, like, because he's a punch rapper. He doesn't come in with anything written. He just goes in there and works on it line by line. And I've seen other artists like pick up. I've had artists be in the studio with him, see him do that, be like, how did he just do that? And then they start doing it, and then watch them develop.
You mean just coming in there like just off the top punching?
Yeah. And like it just made me look at lyrics differently and rhyme schemes. Like, now, if I'm working with an artist and they're doing that same technique, my mind starts hearing like, what would C Money Baby say in this next line?
Right,
like, it just goes that way. But back to actually like your actual question is, I just feel like I'm a producer and engineer, but like working with other people has made me a better songwriter, and it has made them hear beats differently, or hear, like, when you grow that relationship, you start having like being able to bounce ideas back and forth. Like, me and you get to a point where you're on the same wavelength. Last night, me and D-Night were in the studio, and there's like this little portion of the song that like before and after his verse, and we weren't sure really what to do there. And so I had an idea for something I'm not going to say right now, but I had this idea, and he was like, I was actually thinking that same thing. And so we have this idea established for that now. We don't know how we're going to execute it exactly, but it's just stuff like that, being able to like I said, bounce ideas, sharpen each other's skills and ears.
Yeah. That reminds me of saying, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Like, that's for sure. Man, you a real student of the game too, bro. Like, I really respect that. Like, I already knew you was a flat out professional, but Yeah, bro, just how you are very intricate, like you said, with the songwriting. And I didn't even really tap in on producing, but real quick though, how often are you producing compared to engineering?
Man, at this point, it's getting close to equal.
Word.
I'm working on 7 albums right now, I think. With that, I'm
Production.
yeah.
Are you engineering?
Yes, both.
Yeesh.
I'm working on an album with D Night. I'm doing a lot of the production on there, but not necessarily all of it. K2 Droid, I'm doing all the production for his album. Dub the Poet, I'm doing almost all the production on that. Me and C Money Baby have an album that did all the production on that we're finishing up. This duo, Sons of April, I'm producing.
Oh, I fuck with Sons of April.
Yeah, I'm producing like everything for them right now. That's fantastic. This kid Nate Reddig, I actually have a studio session with him tonight. I'm producing all that. Wall Street KB, we have an album.
KB.
We have an album done that I produced all of it, and it just keeps growing.
Man,
and
around
I'm just
the
getting
clock.
better at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, 2 more questions. One, I seen a post that I love because I love keeping just looking back at some of my old pictures and stuff. June 7, 2012, and wasn't an overnight success.
Yeah.
Wasn't overnight, and then you said I keep all my receipts. Through that journey from 2012, even though you said you started before that,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was some moments of like, fuck this shit, or was it? And scaving through that if it was though.
I'll say this. There have definitely been moments of feeling like, okay, this is just going to be my forever hobby. But then something happens and I'm like, oh no, this is where we're going. You know what I mean?
Facts.
It's always been, I made another post recently. I don't know if you saw it. I think I made a post. Maybe I just thought it. About how I don't know if I can pull it up. I have a tattoo that says, plan your work your plan.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what's going to blow your mind. I have video evidence of me at 3 years old, and my mom is asking me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to go to Ohio State and work on computers.
Yeah.
I was 3, give me a break. Right? By the time that I was like freshman in high school, I knew that I wanted to get either a degree in computer engineering or computer science, but I also was like falling deeply in love with like music, right? By the time I was applying to schools, I knew that I need to do something with recording or music business, something, right?
Yeah.
I ended up finding a school in Indianapolis, Butler University, that had an engineering dual degree program where I could get a degree in computer engineering and a degree in computer science because I couldn't decide between the two. So I could get both degrees and a minor in recording industry studies in
Triple
5
threat.
years.
Yeah.
And I was like, bet, this is the plan.
I never heard dual degree.
Yeah.
Damn. So that,
Yeah.
I never even asked why Indy was the place that you moved to with so many schools, but that is amazing.
That's the one.
dope.
I could get both degrees and the thing I was passionate about in one place in 5 years. So that was when I set out the plan. Okay, I'm going to do this. 5 years schooling. I'm going to do as much music as I can, but also get these degrees. And then after that, I'll get a job that will, because computer engineering, computer science pays well, job security, great. And then, so the plan was I'll graduate, I'll get a job, I'll work that job for 6 years. And by that time, I should be able to go into music full time. Like that's my plan. And it took 7 years, but we got there.
Nah, facts. I mean, if anything, no regrets, because if you didn't pull through with it, you just would have been thinking, shit, why didn't I stay on that?
Exactly. And I mean, this is kind of related. When I was younger, like a teenager, my family owned a bar, and my other grandpa owned his own business. So that's ties into the wanting to have my own business and work for myself thing, right? But like one day my dad was telling me a story about how when he was in high school, he was offered a scholarship to go play basketball in Washington. My dad's an athletic guy. I'm not. He didn't give me those genes.
Yeah, you got the brains.
So, but he didn't take it for personal reasons. I won't put it out there, but And so he didn't take it, and that's like his biggest regret. And so that's always lived with me of like, if there's a thing I love and I want to do, I'm gonna do
Don't
it.
live in
I'm gonna
regret.
go. I'm not ever gonna regret. So as much as to the original question, there have been times when I've been like, this is just gonna have to be a hobby. It was never in my plan to ever give it up or be like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, but just hobby rather than like, nah, we're gonna make this an actual professional career.
A business, a career, yeah.
Okay. Man, final question, man. What's a good quote or a piece of advice you live off of? But I think you just said it with the tag.
Yeah, man. Plan your work your plan.
Yeah. That's simple as it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's really like it's a simple motto. It was my grandpa's motto. And it's kind of just every day my grandpa would wake up and he had a stack of index cards, and every day he would wake up and write a to-do list of things to get done that day, and then would do it. Take out he always wore a shirt, a button-up shirt with a pocket, and it would always stay right there with a pen, and he would get something done, take it out.
It's the best feeling ever.
Off, maybe add something to it, put it back, and that's how he lived his life. And like, that's just instilled in me. Like, I have a notebook that there's apps and websites I use for project management and organization, but I still keep
tangible, right?
I still keep a pen and a piece of paper and write down to do stuff and cross it off.
That's some entrepreneur habits, man.
Yeah,
my man's told me that, like, bro, it ain't nothing better than the feeling of just writing it down, scratch it off.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm done by the end of the day. Yeah. Man, Ash Matthews, bro, I appreciate you for your time. This is damn near like a panel talk. I wanted people to get some insight, man. And, man, just get another little background story of you. Like, we see everything on social media, the grind and everything, but we all humans too, man. So I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you. Can I tell one quick story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's something that I've been waiting for, like, a podcast opportunity to be able to tell the story. Yeah. Because, like, this is something that only a handful of people know.
Okay.
So, Ash Matthews is not my real name. No one needs to know what it is. If you know, you know. If you don't, there's probably a reason.
I go the same way.
But people always ask, like, is it short for something? Where did it come from? Whatever. So where it comes from is I made up the name in 2014. Because like I was talking about in high school, I started getting into recording, and I started recording like friends and whatever. And through a friend of a friend, I met a local rapper back in Lima, Justin Watkins. We all called him Lupe. He went by Phoenix the Answer, right? And he knew that I was like recording people, so he wanted to come over and record. So he came over, and me and him became like best friends. Like, we hung out all the time. Yeah. That was my guy. Like, and he encouraged me like nobody else. He was my dude. He's originally from San Jose. So like I took him to his first concert through a friend in college. She had VIP tickets to see Wiz Khalifa, and Wiz Khalifa was his guy, like his main rapper. Yeah. So I took him to his first concert, which was Wiz Khalifa and VIP. So, but anyway, he ended up moving back to San Jose, and he was there for a couple years. And one day, walking home from work at GameStop, he was randomly shot and in the neck and died. And I'm trying not to get too emotional. I ended up having a phone call with the dude that like lived across the street and like ran out and like held him in his dying moments and like told me his last words and everything. But anyway, so he went by Phoenix the Answer, right? He spelled it F-E-N-I-X, not like regular Phoenix, but the idea for Ash Matthews, Matthew is my middle name, easy, but Ash came from like Phoenix, a phoenix rises from the ashes. Yeah. Like he will always live through me and be reborn through me, the Ash. Yeah. And so Ash Matthews just because I knew Ash, and then I was like, what sounds cool with that? And then Ash Matthews just sounds cool. So
I mean, name. Love it, man. Rest in peace to him.
And I have
he lived through you.
I have his logo tattooed right here. If you ever see me, you can ask to see. I'm not gonna strip on camera.
Period. He lived through you, man. That's where the name comes
from, for everyone that wanted to know.
Yeah, that's definitely about to be a clip we gonna put out.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much, bro. We got a lot more to do probably, man. I'm going to get you on here. I got a couple ideas I'm going to talk to you about. But this is Dreamers Welcome Podcast. Y'all keep dreaming. We out.
Dreamers Welcome Podcast.